This is one of the most common questions I get. What is your opener? And I have talked about not being direct, being a little bit more indirect. But one of the most common questions I get is, what's your openers? What's your what are your canned lines that you use to start up a conversation with a girl? And I'm going to give you guys the perfect canned line. The perfect canned line. The perfect opener when you started up with a girl during the sweet art of cold approach. But before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel dating advice for the modern man. Top link in the description to get coaching with me. Sign up and do some coaching, do the sweet art of cold approach in person, or you can sign up to do some phone call coaching anywhere in the world. And one thing I do is once you're on a call with me, I actually test you. I go, give me what opener you're using that is failing you, and I will go and trial it live while on the phone to you and show you how you can make it work. And I've done that many times. I don't know how many times now, but I've done that at least say 20 or more times. I'm only new to coaching, so not a lot of guys that I've had those coaching calls with, but we're starting off. So this is the perfect line. There isn't one. There is not one perfect opener, and what that does is it tells me more about you than you probably are aware of. If you are asking me what is the perfect opener or what my opener is, that means you're not really taking enough action. That means you're not out there. That means you don't know or you don't have enough experience out there taking action. And if you are suffering from approach anxiety, you're not really getting into it, you're not really speaking to enough girls, and you're not getting into the meat of the conversation. Maybe your cold approach to hook ratio is really low, and you start to think, okay, maybe it's my opener. I would say that there is one thing that I am against, is approaching a girl that you don't know and complimenting her off the approach. That is one thing I am totally against. I don't recommend that you should just go putting girls on pedestals that you don't know personally. I think that if you go and speak to a girl in the street and you just walk straight up to her, you don't know her personality, you don't know what's in here, you don't know anything about her, and you go over and go, you are really cute. It might sound like I'm pitching some sort of a feminist ideal, but I'm not. If you go over to a girl and you tell her that she's attractive and you don't know anything about her, all you're doing is telling her that you don't care about this, and you don't care about this. You don't care about who she is. Show a little empathy and try to think about it from her point of view. Now, openers, how to start up a conversation. Well, to start with, almost anything will do. And I will say one thing that's very important is that a guy that's new to this, he's not really taking any action. He's not really getting out there at all. He starts talking about openers. He doesn't know what's going on. What's your opener? How do I start the conversation? Well, you know what you do? You can run the gauntlet of groups and meet up with a ton of bad wings and get a lot of bad ideas and a lot of bad feedback and a lot of bad advice, where you can go learn the sweet art of cold approach from someone who is really experienced from the sweet art of cold approach. Top link in the description. But experienced guys that are out there taking a lot of action, they never ask you what's your opener. They never ever ask that. What do they ask? They ask things like, how did you pull? What was your method of pulling back? With the numbers that you're getting, what are you doing with all of your numbers? What method do you have of mass texting? What apps are you using? What system are you using? How are you, when you're getting a girl back to your place, what are you doing? You see, this is what the advanced guys are doing. They've got everything else covered. They're taking the action, right? They never worry about the openers. Some guys actually have really ridiculous canned openers and just increase the amount of volume that they're taking. And I definitely am against that. I don't recommend you should be doing that. But we should start to think, where is that question coming from? That question's coming from you not really taking enough action yourself, because I'm sure after a while you'll start to realize, okay, well, this conversation, this sequence, I'm starting the conversation with commenting on something that she's wearing or how pretty she is. This sequence starts with a little bit of a giggle, and then it goes into the next sequence, and it goes into the next sequence. You know, you say that, she says this, you say that, she says this. And you'll start to see a pattern. And at the end of it, you also see another pattern. That pattern is you not getting laid. That's the most obvious pattern that's happening. And so we go back, and you need to start innovating off the approach, right? But you also need to have a large volume over time. You know, at least 3 approaches per day. Make it a lifestyle thing. Don't make it so that you're meeting up with a wing on the weekend and you go hold each other's hand walking around the city for 3 hours doing marathon walking expeditions with some guy that you met off a forum. What you need to be doing is doing, you know, a few approaches here, a few approaches there, every single day. And the best way to do that is through, you know, that's through indirect, in my opinion. Not waiting until you hold hands with another direct day gamer on the weekend and then just spam the hell out of the city and do 100 approaches in one day. Do it over a lifetime. And think about it from the point of view is these approaches compound over time. You get better over time. But if you take a week off in between, then on the weekends, you're cold. You know, you're not good at it anymore. You lose something. You need consistency. And I think that is with every skill there is on planet Earth. Now, I get it. A lot of guys in, say, Europe or Canada, 6 months of the year, you can't really practice. I get that. There's a lot of coaches out there that can't practice either. And that's why they come up with dodgy ways of doing it. But there are ways to innovate. You do have to interact with human beings. If it's too cold, it's snowing outside, you have malls, you have to go to the shops, right? You have to go to restaurants. There's other ways where you do interact with women. And if you went around in a direct way, telling every cute girl, you go to a restaurant, you sit down, and the waitress says, "Oh, you're really hot." And you start telling every girl that she's hot, she's pretty, she's cute. You know, it'll be weird in those social environments where you have onlookers around. They'll just think, this guy's weird, this guy's way too aggressive, he's over the top. It's just weird, right? And so what I recommend is the sweet art of cold approach, which is indirect. It is not direct. It is starting up a conversation during your day-to-day life. And this is a lifestyle. This is not a once in a lifetime little thing. I liken it to surfing. There's people that go do surf training, and they'll go and do surfing for a weekend or something, and they'll pay a lot of money to do some surfing, and they'll get taught a weird style of surfing. But people who actually do surfing, they know that surfing's a lifestyle. It compounds over time, and you have to be consistently doing it almost every day, weekly, monthly, continuously, and that's how you get good over time. And I guess the real problem is a lot of the guys that are in Europe and, say, Canada, where it's snowing and it's too cold to go out and do day game. You do have clubs, you have other options, but if you are on the job all the time, you are always doing this, the opener will not be a problem because you will always be innovating. And if you have trouble innovating, I suggest that you guys go do some improv classes. Improv classes are great, where you can improvise in the moment. You can practice your verbals, because that's really important. I don't think that the opener is as important unless you're putting her on a pedestal immediately. I don't think the opener is that important. I think the meat of the conversation and where that leads is really important. Once you've hit the hook point where she's willing to talk to you, that's where the magic happens, okay? And you can only really get there by taking enough action that you can get over that hook point somehow, get into the meat of the conversation. Improv classes, learn how to engage with women, and you do that by doing it consistently over time. It is a lifestyle. You get into pickup, it is a lifestyle. It is not a weekend little holding hands with a buddy walking around the city, doing marathon walking expeditions with chewing gum and a water bottle in your hand. There's a lot of you guys doing that right now, isn't it? I obviously teach something very different. I recommend solo as well, but taking action. And when I hear that, and when a lot of other guys hear, what is your opener, we instantly think, oh, okay, this guy's not doing much. So get out there. Get out there, and if you're not sure how to get out there, which could be a problem as well, the problem is if you start out with the wrong methodology, you start out learning the wrong style of game, long term, you end up damaging your results long term. And a lot of the time I will come across a guy that's been doing game for a very long time. He's run boot camps in the past, and I have to say, look, forget about everything that you already know. We are going to start right at the beginning from scratch, and we're going to have to fix everything that you've learned over time, because all these habits are wrong, and they're actually hampering your results. So hopefully that's been helpful. I have covered a little bit of ground there. I've covered quite a few things. But yeah, openers, not that important unless you're going over there and giving her a compliment off the opener, which I don't recommend you should do. I reckon you need to be taking a lot more action and innovating, doing improv classes. That's really the lesson for today. I'll see you guys in the next video.